It's a CFTC, Kristin, that I think a lot of people are wondering, is that the agency that is going to finally regulate the crypto space?
I hope so. I am thoughtful about the capability of the CFTC to execute on its mission to protect investors and ensure market integrity and market stability. And what we know we're missing right now today is all of those three elements.
What's the advantage of having the CFTC do it versus, say, the SEC?
Well, I don't know if we have to think about it as mutually exclusive. In fact, more often than not, the CFTC and SEC have worked hand in glove together to organize markets. One need only look back as far as the recent Dodd-Frank Act adopted to order over-the-counter derivatives markets, specifically swaps markets, and the inclusion by Congress of the term swap and security-based swap in that statute. We built an entire regulatory framework together.
You talked in your first answer about clearly we're seeing why we need regulation today. With Binance, with FTX, for example, is this the clearest sign yet that this is why we need regulation?
That's absolutely right. The shocks of recent events continue to reverberate across crypto markets and beyond. And the events of this week are not isolated. In fact, if we think about it carefully, from 3 Arrows to Voyager to Celsius Network, we've seen a continuous stream of events characterized by the following: liquidity crisis, acquisition, and consolidation. I believe that these elements make plain that if regulation were adopted today, we could do a better job mitigating some of these concerns in advance.
We're, of course, waiting for Congress to effectively sign off on this. Why is it taking so long?
Well, let me just suggest that we've been working directly with bipartisan bills coming out of the House and the Senate in an effort to ensure that we can develop a regulatory framework that gives the CFTC the authority over the spot market. That's a market that we usually regulate only in the context of anti-fraud and market manipulation. Access to regulate the spot market would enable us to require the registration of exchanges and platforms that are facilitating crypto lending and cryptocurrency transactions.
You talked about consolidation. What conversations are you having with Binance and FTX to approve or not a consolidation if it thinks about going through?
So I would think about it as consolidation, yes, but I think there are other parts, the pieces to the puzzle, if you will. In fact, I describe them as correlations among markets. I describe them as a mild contagion, and then competition as issues that we have to carefully think about. So in terms of correlations, the correlations among markets are revealing that even market participants who are not immediately experiencing liquidity or solvency crises are being affected by the events that are happening at institutions where those things are happening. Regulation would help to bring all of that under an umbrella where we could carefully review balance sheets and ensure liquidity requirements are met by platforms facilitating trading.
You used the word consolidation there. This is an industry that, at least based on how it describes itself, is fairly decentralized. I think we saw with the latest bout here that there is still some concerns about maybe it's not quite as decentralized as possible. Do you have evidence that maybe there is I guess, a lack of diversification, if you will, in the way the industry is structured?
Well, in truth, we need greater visibility into this market. The regulatory gap that I described earlier makes it very difficult for us to surveil and police markets in the way that we would traditionally do. In addition, I'd say we have core principles at the CFTC mirrored by regulation at the SEC that would also ensure against any anti-competitive mergers that might lead to consolidation in the market that is not in the public's best interest or consumer and investors' best interest. So these core principles, if applied to regulated entities, would mitigate some of those concerns.
From what we can glean from public comments on Twitter, FTX has been open to regulation, working with regulators. Binance has been a little bit less so in that mix. Are you now having conversations with Binance to get their ideas of what appropriate regulation looks like? And do you no longer then have conversations with FTX?
I would simply say this isn't about any individual market participant. This is about ordering markets broadly. It is part of our mandate as regulators at the CFTC and the commitment we have to protecting the public interest. So no individual market participant is as critical as ensuring the stability of the market overall. And so in this moment, the goal to push regulation forward is to order markets, to ensure that the types of events that have transpired, the losses customers have and will continue to experience until there's regulation, can be mitigated.